Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over the best cards at each position in Hockey Ultimate Team currently in game. Before we get into the rankings, as I was going through them, I think this might be the first time in a long time that there are so many cards that you can only acquire via packs. And I'm not sure if it's like a fundamental philosophy shift, but over the course of NHL 24, we've seen progression from events and icons really slow down to help protect us from getting the 99 quicker, because that ruins the game. And while I think that's a good thing, the slow progression is kind of odd because there are cards like Jack Hughes, who has multiple cards above 88, Leon Draisaitl at 90 overall, but McDavid's at 89, and small things like that. And while I think I'm okay with very few cards being at the top end, it's just interesting to me that there's so many cards that you can't build and that are simply in packs. And again, I don't know if that's a philosophy shift from the live content team or not. As always, these rankings are purely meant to be a guide for players that are trying to figure out who they should go after, things like that. If you are enjoying a card and you are performing well with that card, please continue to use it. As always, make sure you're using cards on your favorite team. You're not going to win the NHL 24 World Championship, so get out of that mindset where you need to have the best cards everywhere. But for the sake of the video, here are, in my opinion, the best cards at each position. Let's begin with left-handed wingers, and this is the position that has the most amount of options here. So there are a ton of players that could go in this top four, but really the top two are kind of without a doubt, no questions. But number 4, I've got the 90 team of the week, Nikita Kucherov. Smaller players are still extremely viable, especially on the wing. 92 speed, 93 acceleration and agility, but it's his wrist shot power and accuracy and slap shot power and accuracy. At this stage of the game, we are still early enough in where players have goaltenders that are in the mid-80s. Their ratings are not very high. And while everyone loves to roll their eyes and say that goaltender ratings don't matter, it's just whoever's biggest and how you play defense. And while there is a part of that is true, when it comes to just stopping shots, like a glove save, things like that, if a guy's got 99 wrist shot power and accuracy, it'll go in by just flicking up sometime. And Nikita Kucherov's shot is so good that it's almost at that level. On top of that, unstoppable force and elite edges is still one of the best abilities combos in the game. And Silver 1T, if you can actually get it activated for the cost, if you watch my video with Eki, it's really the only way that one-timers will just go in cleanly. And Nikita Kucherov's got a good enough slap shot that it will just go in with that activated. So he is number 4 for me. Coming in number 3 is the 90 overall Jack Hughes. Now, the Stars of the Month card is also equally deadly, so you could go with that one too. But he's one of the best skaters in the game at 93 speed, 94 acceleration, but his 97 base agility is pretty nasty. Playmaking forward is one of the easier synergies to activate because so many of the top-end cards are listed as playmaker, which means that he's got max agility, and we're at the beginning of December. On top of that, his shot plays better than other cards with equal attributes, even Connor McDavid. And gold make it snappy, at least on cards that have unbelievable shooting stats. It just goes in. Connor Bedard's next-gen card, you could literally just flick up. He's got elite edges, 1T as well if you want on this live moments card. He's got almost max hand stats as well. Defensively, he's a liability, but all you got to do is burn down the boards. I don't know how many times in Division 2 or Division 1 in Champ that I've seen people that are just amazing with Jack Hughes on their team. Coming in at number 2 among left-handed wingers is the 89 Connor McDavid. At 95 speed and acceleration, he's the fastest card in the game, and he's 6'1", 193, playmaking forward, which again is one of the more easily made synergies. And he gets a secondary customizable synergy, which is shooting boost, which is making these boost synergies a little bit more easier to actually use. And if you can get that activated, his shot is the one thing that's kind of mediocre. Gold unstoppable force on a card that has 95 speed and acceleration is nuts. Combine that with Silver Wheels, which I think is really one of the only few players that it's worth activating wheels on. You've got one of the best cards in the game. Now, a lot of people will ask about the X Factor Connor McDavid. I still think this is the card that everyone should be chasing. It is easily the most valuable, simply because at some point when he wins Team of the Year, you can trade this in for the Team of the Year version. I'd also much rather have gold unstoppable force than gold wheels in this case, so I like the fact that they're flip-flopped on the Team of the Week. And then at number 1, it is becoming infuriating playing against Gretzky when you don't have him. At 92 overall, now we get Silver Born Leader, which I think does add quite a bit of value, because if you can get a bunch of Born Leader cards, like from the Captain's event, your best players are just always on the ice. Gold Unstoppable Force is one of the best abilities in the game, so is Silver Elite Edge. Sniper Forward makes his shot basically maxed out. And to make up for his deficiency in hitting, he does get checking boost, but again, that one's probably going to be pretty tough to activate. He's almost perfect defensively with defensive awareness and stick checking, and one of the best skaters in the game. Easily the best left-handed winger card right now, even topping out Connor McDavid. All right, on to right-handed wingers, and honestly, this one could be played out differently. I actually think that the 89 Braden Point is one of the best right-handed wingers in the game currently. You could play him at center as well. This is just a personal preference because Alex Ovechkin has been my number one right-handed winger for quite some time now, and he's just automatic. Gold unstoppable force on someone who's 6'3", 238 with 90 speed and acceleration. His shot goes in more than his stats indicate that he should. He's got good defensive. He's great on body checking at 87 overall, and the fact that he's so big. Just one of the better cards, in my opinion, from any of the event. Coming in number 3 is the 88 Game Day Nathan MacKinnon with playmaking forward and shooting boost. 94 speed, 94 acceleration. We've talked about this a ton. He has a custom skating stride. It just makes him feel faster than his stats already indicate that he should be. However, he's one of the fastest cards in the game. Gold elite edges, silver unstoppable force, and honestly, if you get in just inside the blue line and fire low far side with Heat Seeker, it just goes in cleanly. I've used the 86 live moments McKinnon. He's been very good. Just an all-around great card. Nathan MacKinnon cards are always some of the best. Coming in at number 2 among right-handed forwards, we've got the 92 Gordie Howe, and this is going to kind of depend on if you take advantage of reverse hitting or not. If you don't, then he can probably fall down the list a little bit because he's only got 91 speed, 92 acceleration, and 93 agility, which isn't bad at all. It's just not among the absolute elite in the game. It's his 95 balance that's pretty impressive because he just doesn't get knocked off the puck really, especially with silver unstoppable force. If you are someone who is very good at reverse checking, silver back at you makes this card basically untouchable when you have the puck. I've seen a lot of top-end players use Gordie Howe, and if you use him correctly, he's one of the best in the game. And at number 1 among right-handed forwards, we're going to change things up. After a month of a few good top-end centermen, I think it's finally time that Mario Lemieux on right-handed winger kind of takes over again like he normally does. 6'4", 230, one of the biggest, fastest cards in the game. He's got playmaking forward and sniper forward as an option, and again, sniper forward would allow him to basically get max shooting. His hand stats are all 99. His defensive awareness is 93. Even his body checking at 81 is a little bit misleading simply because he's so big. You don't have to activate close quarters on him, but silver unstoppable force makes this card a weapon. Throw him born later. Every time you go up against Mario Lemieux, it's just an eye roll because you know it's going to be a mess. Coming in at number 4 among centermen is the 90 Leon Draisaitl. Now, he has the lowest faceoffs of this list, but he's built like a perfect centerman. 6'2", 208, silver unstoppable force, 89 speed, only 88 acceleration, but great hand stats, and again, just a little bit bigger. Sniper forward makes his shot one of the best in the game, and if you combine it with shooting boost, it's almost max. So for the first time in a long time, Leon Draisaitl has one of the best cards in the game. Coming in at number 3 among centermen, I've got the 88 Mark Messier. Now, I've done an entire Hut Champs run with Messier. Here's the thing. Defensively, he's been unbelievable. I win every face-off that I take with him, essentially. I get the puck back via hits or stick checking. It's been fantastic with Mark Messier. Cycling the puck even as well. He just can't score. I don't know what it is, but Mark Messier's card just does not score for me, which is why he's down a little bit lower in the lineup for me. However, I can't argue that defensively this card is just so good. Having someone with 99 faceoffs, even without quick draw, means that if you understand the counters of this game right now, there is essentially no one that, unless they are using gold quick draw, they can beat you. Two-way forward is so hard to activate just because there isn't a lot of elite high-end two-way forwards, and same with playmaking boost or defensive boost. But like I said, just defensively, he's been awesome. I just wish he scored a little bit more. Coming in at number 2 among centermen is the Hut Champs Jonathan Toews. I've only played against him a few times. There's just something about him. His attributes don't really scream like he's going to be elite, but he wins every face-off, and all the players I've played against don't even have close quarters. He's 6'2", 201. There's just something about Jonathan Toews cards. Couldn't tell you what it is, but in my opinion, I think he's the second best one just based on playing him. And then number 1, you can't argue it. This Joe Nieuwendyk card is going to be one of the saddest when you go to turn him in, and honestly, it's probably worth just making again when we get the new team builder. I just have gold quick draw on him, but his shot is automatic. He's fast. He hits everyone. This has been one of the best cards to start the year, and it's not even close. If you haven't made any team builders yet, I would recommend just making one, and it's Joe Nieuwendyk. On to right-handed defenseman. Coming in at number 3 is the 87 David Jiricek. 6'4", 199 with 89 speed and acceleration. Two-way defenseman is a very easy synergy to activate, getting him to almost max defensive awareness. He's got 86 body checking. It's gold shutdown. Me and Eki talked about this in our abilities ranking video, just shutdown is so dominant in this year's game because of how hitting works. It improves your stick check, everything about it. If there was one next-gen card to make, it was Check. Coming in at number 2 among right-handed defensemen, Cale Makar, his X-Factor card. I've got Heat Seeker on him, but you really don't even need any abilities. He's the fastest skater, tied to be the fastest skater in the game. And if you use him correctly, by breaking the puck out and essentially straight lining, making one cut through the neutral zone, you can just go end-to-end with him. It's absolutely wild. Defensively, he is a little bit more difficult to use simply because he's not knocking everyone off the puck, especially if they have unstoppable force. But because he's so fast, he can get back and be in the way, and that's just a really big added bonus of using him. Loved this card. We'll use it all year round. One of the best. Then coming in at number 1, just like Joe Nieuwendyk, it's going to be sad to see Patrice Brisebois go. Patrice Brisebois, not Bergeron. I've used him essentially from the start of the game. Gold Truculence is all I have activated on him. He plays as fast as Makar. Like, it's so frustrating because I don't understand, and I never will, why some cards are faster because they have the exact same skating stride. Their attributes are lower. I don't know what it is, and I'll never know what it is. But Patrice Brisebois is the perfect defenseman in Hockey Ultimate Team, and whoever the next right-handed defenseman is for the team-building cards needs to be a stud to be able to replace him. On to left-handed defenseman. I've actually changed my stance on this quite a bit. Usually I had on to left-handed defenseman, and I've changed up quite a bit after the last few weeks or so. Brian Leetch is off my list, but it's very close. The reason why I like Kevin Lowe again is just gold shutdown. If you can activate it on him, if you're not going to have it activated on him, he's not nearly as good as Brian Leetch in my opinion, but if you do, it changes everything completely because he basically just wipes out the whole left side of the ice or right side depending on where you're playing him. His skating is mediocre, but his defensive awareness is max, and if you allow him to intercept passes and not do it yourself manually, you'll actually get some intercept. He's been a pleasant surprise for me. Coming in at number 2 is the 88 Nick Lidstrom. 89 speed and acceleration with 92 agility and 90 balance, 88 body checking, and quick pick is actually working. My co-host of my podcast, Padre, has started using him and tested out gold quick pick to see if you actually get intercept animations, and he actually has. He's just a very well-rounded defenseman in this game, and one of the better non-ultimate icons that you can get. Number 1 for me among left-handed defensemen is Bobby Orr. I think that it's a lot like Cale Makar, that if you use him correctly, he's just a weapon. Like, if you break the puck out, straight line, whether it be diagonally or up down the boards, and make one cut, it is so hard to defend if you're not already playing it. And I think it's even easier in the lower divisions, obviously. He has the ability to get back, and while his body checking is only 80, it doesn't feel like that. Like, if you power up a hit, he crushes people. So, right now, he's my number 1 left-handed defense. In net, the backup. The GOAT is no longer the king. It's been a minute since we've gotten a new Jacob Markstrom card. It's still one of the best players to get, especially if you don't want to spend any money. Even the base Markstrom is fine. Goaltending is still a mess. He's been really good for me, but I find now that some of the shot attributes, like with Bedard and other cards that have in the high 90s, he just does get beat because he's only 85 overall, but still one of the best. And then number 1, we've got the 86 Jake Ottinger. I've only played it against it a few times, but it's been frustrating. Showstopper is one of the best zone abilities in the game because it completely changes the meta with one player. It's not on very many cards at all, and this was really the first one that they gave it to a player that's big, like a good goaltender in Hockey Ultimate Team, and he's over 100K still, so I wouldn't go out and spend the money on him, but if you're hut rich, this Jake Ottinger has been nasty, and especially with this showstopper ability. I have a feeling that the live content team is going to start giving the big goaltender showstopper because it's kind of like meta, and that's what everyone's going to chase. Personally, I think it should only go on smaller goaltenders to make them more viable, but you know, it is what it is. Jake Ottinger, the number 1 goalie right now. So that's going to do it for me today, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.